Hello, my name is Alicia Shapiro with AInews.com, and welcome to another episode of our Driving Tomorrow Conversations with Industry Leaders, where we explore the latest developments and newest innovations in the world of artificial intelligence. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Rohan Doctor, the founder and CEO of Louisa.AI, the innovative AI powered relationship intelligence platform. With an impressive career spanning 20 years in investment banking, including 17 years at Goldman Sachs, Rohan has a wealth of experience in building revenue generating, client facing businesses across major financial hubs like New York, London, and Hong Kong. Louisa is revolutionizing the business world by systematizing serendipity. The platform leverages AI to connect the right people at the right time, fostering serendipitous revenue opportunities that were previously unimaginable. Louisa's unique ability to auto-assemble expertise networks and suggest timely business opportunities is transforming how companies map relationships, identify expertise, and generate new deals. Thank you for joining us today, Rohan.
Thanks a lot, Alicia.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, let's get started. How can you share the story behind the inception of Louisa AI? How did your experience at Goldman Sachs influence the creation of this AI-powered relationship intelligence platform?
Sure. I was at Goldman for 17 years, client-facing mergers and acquisitions to start with, and sales and trading. And in 2017, I closed a record transaction. And management pulled me up and asked me two questions. They said, how did you do it and how can you do it again? And how I did it was, honestly, it was serendipity. I met the right person at the right time at a coffee machine in London. This was an internal colleague and he talked about this one position. I thought I could find the other. And months later, we closed this, again, record transaction. And to the second question, it was like, what if we, how can one do it again? What if we could systematize serendipity with data? Because it's crazy that in today's day and age, with all this technology, two adults got to be thirsty at the same time, meet at a coffee machine and swap information. Surely there's a better way. And so that was really the birth of Louisa, and we got funded by the executive office to build it within the firm.
Wow, that is great. That is a great idea because, like you said, timing is everything, and how can you do this so it's better? That's fantastic. Yeah. And Louisa aims to systematize serendipity, as we said, in the business world. Can you elaborate on how your platform achieves this and perhaps share a success story that highlights its impact?
Yeah, sure. So what we essentially do is we plug into a company's systems, predominantly the email system, and we build a map of what and who everyone at the company knows. And then we read millions of news signals from like hundreds of different sources. And then we proactively say, hey, Alicia, talk to Elon because Alicia knows about AI news and Elon's just raised XYZ for X.AI. So it's that kind of proactive connections where it's impossible for any human to know what and who everyone, that even a 10-person company knows, because every day people are meeting new people, they're going to conferences, they're prospecting. So what and who everyone knows is changing on a daily basis. And it's impossible for a human to read every newspaper on every client and every prospect every day.
Yeah.
AI can. And so that's really what Louisa does. And in terms of a success story, one comes to mind where Louisa AI read in a Singapore newspaper about a semiconductor plant being built in Taiwan. Now, these plants cost $10 billion plus to build. And it figured out that Susan in compliance, so not even a client-facing person, someone in compliance, used to work at the company and still had emails back and forth with senior managers there because, she had friends there. And it also figured out that she didn't know John, who's the project finance expert in New York. And so Louisa proactively emails Susan for her relationship, introducing her to John for his expertise with the article in copy in the email saying, hey, you two should meet because there's something brewing here. And Susan can give you that warm intro. And again, months later, they closed billions of dollars of financing. And we've done it once, we can do it again. That's how we systematize serendipity. Things that there's very little chance Susan and John would have met for a coffee.
That's exciting. That's so cool. I really like to hear that. That's amazing. Are you able to walk us through the technology and describe some of the benefits for finance and consulting firms?
Yeah, sure. Technology is, so look, we spun out of Goldman Sachs. We spent 5 years, we had 40 people. You're talking about tens of millions of dollars of technology. A lot of that was, however, pre-chat GPT, LLM, all the rest. And
Wow.
so what we've managed to do post that is even more powerful, like the story I just told you.
Hmm.
And what the technology really does, for example, at AI News, Alicia, it would plug into your Gmail or Outlook. It would automatically bring your box to life. So you've emailed me, you've emailed hundreds of other people and founders that you've interviewed. Each of them, you would a nice big, like a LinkedIn, you'd get with real connections, people you actually know, as opposed to LinkedIn, where I know out of the 8,000
Yeah,
people I'm connected with, I probably some small fraction of people I actually know. So these are
right.
real connections. And we would know who internally and externally. We'd be able to pull up their pictures, where they went to university, where they worked, basically as much information as is on the World Wide Web as possible.
Hmm.
And that's the network bit. Then we would pull up a profile for you, Alicia, where we would basically, again, you can connect this with your LinkedIn, with your username and password to get your profile, or we could go into your firm's HR system and we'd figure out where you went to university, where you worked at before, your expertise is. Then you would just literally press this one button and you'd describe, like how just before this interview, you were describing your expertise. You would
Hmm.
give a 3-4 sentence like you do every day when you meet new people. And Louisa would transcribe that into a bunch of expertise tags that you can accept or tweak automatically. And so all of a sudden, we've got what and who, Alicia. And if we do that for all the people at AI News, all of a sudden, we've got everyone that AI News knows internally and externally. And now, if we read all the newspapers on every single person that you know, and on all the expertise that you mentioned, such as lead generation and all the things we talked about, you would automatically get suggestions for, hey, Louisa.AI just did Series A, raised 15 million. Go and re-interview Ro in a year's time or whenever it is. You wouldn't miss a beat on
Oh,
anything
that's awesome.
internally, externally. And what's more is it would tell you, you may not even realize, but your copywriter happened to have gone to university with this other person, Cyrus, who's now got an insurtech startup. And suddenly they can give you a warm introduction to that person. Whereas otherwise that person might ignore your otherwise in LinkedIn inbounds, etc. So there's just a world of stuff that we can do. And the good news is really the email system's the most important. And whether you're in
Hmm.
finance, consulting, media, law, healthcare, we all live in our inbox. And so
Hmm.
this technology is pretty extensible.
That's so powerful. I can see how it would be valuable to, yeah, like you said, any business industry. And how does Louise's functionality improve productivity and foster new business connections?
Yeah, so I think where we are starting is where I spent most of my career, which is generating revenues and bringing people together so we can bring business together. That was my job for many different years and different guises. And so that's where we're focused on this relationship intelligence, sales intelligence, people intelligence, AI powered deal prompts, as we like to call them. So that's where we're focused. But what we found at Goldman Sachs, for example, was once we got this to the whole firm, all 40,000 people, which was the case in 2021, found that we have 10,000 client-facing people. Great, they love it. They get an inbox magically on news on their clients every single day. No one has time to set up. In 10 years of covering clients in Asia, I couldn't find 2 minutes to set up an alert for my biggest clients. Just don't find the time. I had Bloomberg, I had everything. Just never found the time. Now, automatically, 10,000 client-facing people get news on the clients that they cover. It's very specific to them, on people that they know. And so that was just a game changer. But
Yeah.
out of 40,000 people, we had about 25,000 monthly active users. And as I mentioned, there were only 10,000 client-facing people. So where
Wow.
did the
Yeah.
other stuff come from? There are 10,000 engineers. At that time, there were 10,000 engineers. And there were about 20,000 people in federation, which is like legal, HR, operations, etc. And so at any large organization, people are asking, this is an everyday problem, which is who at the company can help with oil and gas loans in Dubai, legal claims in Brazil, GDPR in Switzerland, farm financing in Canada. Like there are everyday questions which people need to be able to answer. And asking around was the way we've done it for 150 years. But
Yeah.
according to McKinsey, that takes 20% of a person's time on average. I've met people who say
Wow.
it takes 100% of my time. And so
Yeah.
that's one day a week. So you take the compensation of Goldman in 2021 was $13 billion employee compensation. 20% of that is wasted on asking around, email blasts, Slack chats. 20% of $13 billion is a very big number. And that's the kind of productivity that we think we can bring. But that's not where we start. Where we start is on the actual, hey, let's use AI to generate new business and let's use AI to make money rather than just save money.
Exactly. That's amazing. That's so great. And Louisa can be implemented in just a couple of weeks by integrating the existing company data. So, what makes your platform's integration process so efficient, and what kind of data does it leverage?
So we have invested so much. We've got 40 engineers, AI, product development, user experience design. The one thing that people say is this does not look like a spreadsheet or some strange, this just
Mm,
looks like something everyone can use. Grandparents and teenagers know how
nice.
to use LinkedIn and
Hmm.
know how to use Facebook. Louise is the same, but it's just completely automatic. And so the data pipe, there's a lot to do with data pipes. We used to use some data pipes as a we've got data pipes into every CRM, communication system, HR system. We can build custom ones into transaction history. We have a lot of integrations with Snowflake and Databricks. We're multi-cloud. We can be on Azure and AWS, and we're on the AWS marketplace. So there's a lot of technology behind this. And the idea is everyone's different.
Yeah.
Every company makes money in a different way. Every company has different data on its clients, on its prospects. And so what we want to do is look at that garage and see, hey, have you got an empty garage with no data or a really big garage, but it's really messy? And before we start anything, Alicia, what we do is we do an AI and data readiness assessment because as AI is all about data. So
Yeah.
we've got to first do a deep dive. It's a very short, like 1 hour or 2 week kind of process where we meet a bunch of people and we get in there and we figure out a very small amount of money. We figure out what their data looks like and what gaps there are and how we can fill it. And that's how we start things.
Nice. That sounds great. And what is your long-term vision for Louisa? How do you see the role of AI evolving in relationship intelligence and business development over, say, the next 5 years?
Yeah, when I first took on this role, we've all grown up, well, not all, I should say. Anyone who's now in the middle of their life, we all used to watch these TV programs where there's a voice in the spaceship and you ask it anything and it
Oh,
just
right.
tells you.
Hmm.
And Alexa, Siri never quite lived up to that. Clearly, what OpenAI's ChatGPT can do, it just blows everyone's minds.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, I was a speaker at the New York AI and Finance Summit at the Javits Center, huge, almost airport-like conference. And everyone wanted a chat GPT-like experience within their company. Whether you're at Goldman or McKinsey or NVIDIA or any large company, many of whom we're very engaged with, you want to be able to ask NVIDIA AI or something like that, hey, who can help me with XYZ or who can introduce me to ABC? And that's not going to happen anytime soon. And I'll tell you why. It's because of the data.
Mm.
Because the data that sits within the four walls of a company is a tiny fraction of what ChatGPT was trained on. ChatGPT was trained on everything ever written in the history of humanity that has been put on the internet in any language. That is a lot of data. When you
Yeah.
compare that to what is within the four walls of a company, a majority of that real knowledge, yes, there's SharePoints and investment committee memos, and there's emails, and there's a little Confluence and Notion, but really, majority of the knowledge sits in the minds of its people. And so for companies in legal, finance, healthcare, media, just many knowledge-based companies, it's people's knowledge and expertise that is the product, not some physical product. And
Right.
so what we're saying is ask any question to your company's GPT, powered by Louisa, and the answer will be, so I could ask, who do we think is going to win the US election? Who, and it'll say, ask Bob, Susan, Vivek, because Bob used to work at the White House. Vivek is the guy who's writing research on the election, and Susan used to work. It'll suddenly tell you who at the company has the most knowledge on that understanding on that topic, and that way you can. There's no hallucinations, it's people. So that's really the long-term vision, which is we are going to be the first company, and we're rolling it out to $100 billion private equity firm soon, where they're going to be the first company on the planet to have an enterprise GPT where they can ask any question and it'll just tell you who at the company can answer it.
That's amazing. That is very powerful. Like I said before, I think anyone would benefit from that program because, like you said, the business connections is what's so important. And like you said, you spend 20% to 100% of your day trying to make those connections. And like
Yeah.
you said, it will help make money instead of just save your company money. So that's
I
amazing.
think we are the first. There is so much, and you know this more than anyone, but at AI News, but there is so much in the bucket of let's use AI to save money. So document summarization, document generation, document query, legal documents, all of that saves. And look, I don't want to play it down. This saves ridiculous amounts of time. Like what you can do with it is unbelievable what it can do. But it still is just saving time, and in some sense, reducing the amount that people need to do and stroke replacing them. So what we are like one of the first chips by me talking to some of the largest companies in the world, headquartered in New York, London, and Hong Kong over the last year, where I speak to CIOs, heads of innovation, heads of AI, and mostly heads of business, because that's where I was born. But when I talk to them, that bucket of how to use AI to make money is basically completely empty. We're one of the first chips being put into that. I'm sure more will follow. And the beauty of it, and in fact, I got a call the other day from government affairs at a very large bank, and they said, "Hey, Ro, this is a friendly, but someone in the US Senate wants to talk to you." And I was like, okay. And so they said that they want to talk to you because senators are talking to their constituents, and they want to find Louisa's using AI to connect people, not replace them. And they want to use examples of that, because what we're doing at the end of the day is we're figuring out everything. And back to that Susan and John story, we say, hey, Susan, you've got the relationship. John, you've got the expertise. Here's the article in the press about this opportunity. The three of you should connect. So we're using AI to connect people, not replace them. And I think that's part of our mission statement. And I think that's very important in terms of what we do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Especially since a lot of people are scared that AI is going to take their jobs. So that's an important part to highlight for sure. Yeah. So exciting what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we conclude, I'd like to just switch gears a little bit to a couple of lighter
Yeah.
questions and get to know you a little better.
Sure.
So, when you do step away from your work, what are some activities or hobbies that you're passionate about?
Yeah. So I've got twin boys who are 10 and a 17-year-old.
Oh,
And a lot of like tomorrow's Saturday, and it's probably my favorite day because I've been the soccer coach for the last 4 or 5 years.
yeah.
And so my twins are in the class, and I've got a whole group of kids. And it's just, it teaches me a lot. Just defense. There's always one kid running around doing everything else while others are daydreaming. So a
Yeah.
lot, there's a lot of analogies with that and my day job and just a lot of things. But I just love being outdoors in the park with the kids
Mhm.
and getting their view on anything and everything. And I think the next generation's got a lot to teach us. So
Yes.
that's one. And then as I tell my team, it's not, there is no, this is it. Like Louisa AI is like, last 20 years was investment banking, next 20 years is Louisa AI. And so for me, it's whether I'm socializing, meeting friends, family, teachers, whatever it is, I think that we can use this technology. Everyone's a client, everyone,
Mhm.
even a sole proprietor. And I think we just want to see what we can do to help people. You're sitting there, you're thinking, why is my career not going so well? Or why did the other guy get paid more than me? Or why am I being let go? And a lot of it comes down to not being at the right place at the right time
Mhm.
and just bad luck. And I don't think that that needs to necessarily, what if we could make good luck a thing? Like, what if we could, just by you, Alicia, being you, and having your journey with your friends, your family, you don't even realize, but like some of your best friends could introduce you to an opportunity that could change AI news forever, right?
Yeah.
But you're just not able to do that because we've got to eat, sleep, make the food, clean up, load the dish. Like there's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
we need to do that it just means that so that's for me it's one big thing. And my kids can pitch Louisa AI. My wife is involved in the design.
That's
Everyone I
awesome.
talk to is involved. Everyone.
That's great. That's so cool. And what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start or grow their own business, and particularly in leveraging AI to drive their success?
Yeah, I would say that one of the things that keeps me sane is I work out 3 times a week, and I do that consistently because I've got an amazing coach, stroke personal trainer in India.
Mhm.
And so we Zoom, I go on my AirPods, any gym I am in the world, and I go and work out with him. And I would never not show up because I know he's there. And I think getting some sort of coach, some sort of mentor that can that you commit to meeting with on a consistent basis just helps. And again, obviously, I'm big on expertise and relationships. That's my whole business. But I just feel like if you can, what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is nothing more than Sam Altman has essentially sold us back the internet. Like everything it knows was on the internet. It's just done it in a way that you can ask any question and it knows. And what is the internet? The internet is nothing more than the collective knowledge of humanity in different cultures, languages, etc. So it's all out there, and we should just ask people and get help. And I would say definitely just leverage people, whether that's someone you think is going to do 4 years in your company or more, or someone with 4 minutes or an advisor for 4 months. Just get all the help you can and distill it into so you become the chat GPT of your startup.
I love that. That's great advice. Yeah. Thank you, Rohan, for joining us today and
Great.
sharing your insights on the power of AI and relationship intelligence and business development. It has been such a pleasure learning about your innovative approaches with Louisa and your journey as a leader in the industry. So, thank you for coming on and talking with us. For
Pleasure.
more,
Absolute pleasure. See you soon.
yes. And for more information about Louisa, you can visit their website, Louisa.ai. Keeping you connected to tomorrow. Today, this is Alicia with AInews.com.